Welcome to Cost Saver Conversations. I'm Angela, and I ask the practical questions so you can quickly understand what matters. Today, I'm joined by Assad.
Hi, Angela. We are unpacking Subsidence and Radon Risk, a UK homebuyer's guide to avoiding costly surprises today, and tying it back to the wider cost saver ecosystem, including tools like Subsidence and Radon Home Risk Engine, BGS plus UKHSA, so you can turn insights into action quickly.
Just a heads up before we dive in. We are your synthetic hosts. We are great with numbers, but as AI, we can sometimes be confidently wrong. Think of us as the digital versions of your most knowledgeable, slightly caffeinated friends.
Exactly. Treat this chat as a smart estimate only, not as professional financial guidance. Always check important details with official sources or a qualified expert before making any big decisions.
Hey, welcome back, everyone. Today, we are getting into something that, honestly, I think most people just completely gloss over when they're buying a home. We're talking about ground subsidence and radon gas, two things that sound kind of scary, but, well, we'll get into all of it. Assad is here with me, as always. Assad, how are you?
I'm good, Angela, thanks. Yeah, this is one of those topics where people's eyes sort of glaze over, but then when something goes wrong, it's like suddenly it's the only thing they can think about. So I'm glad we're doing this one.
Yeah, exactly. Nobody cares until they care a lot. So, okay, let's set the scene. Why should someone buying a house even be thinking about subsidence and radon? Like, aren't there more obvious things to worry about?
I mean, you think so, right? But these are genuinely the two most under-discussed property risks in the UK. They don't appear in property listings, they almost never come up at a first viewing, and yet, and this is the bit that gets people, a single undetected subsidence issue can cost you 15,000 to 50,000 pounds in underpinning. 50 grand, Angela.
Wait, 50,000?
50,000 for a typical semi. And then radon, untested radon exposure is the second leading cause of lung cancer in the UK after smoking. Neither of those costs shows up in the asking price. You just inherit them.
Okay, that's sobering. So, how do we even find out about this stuff? Because you're right, nobody mentions it during viewings.
So the good news, the actually good news, is that both risks are mapped nationally by respected public bodies. The British Geological Survey, BGS, they publish something called GeoSure, which grades the ground under every postcode for 6 geological hazards. And then the UK Health Security Agency, UKHSA, they publish the indicative radon map, which shows the probability that homes in a given area exceed the radon action level. Both are free at a headline level.
Oh, that's great. So you can just look it up.
You can, but, and this is the big but, they are widely misused.
Misused how? Like, if it says high risk, surely you just avoid it?
Yeah, and that's exactly the mistake. Neither map was designed to give you a yes or no answer for a single property. They're screening tools. They tell you what's likely across an area. They do not tell you what is happening under one specific set of foundations. So if you treat a screening result like a diagnosis, you either panic and pull out of a perfectly good purchase, or you shrug it off because, oh, it only says moderate. Both reactions are wrong.
So it's more like a flag to go investigate further.
Exactly that. A starting point, not a conclusion. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally. Okay, so let's break these down one at a time. Subsidence first. What is GeoSure actually measuring?
Right, so GeoSure covers 6 ground stability hazards, but for most home buyers, the big one, the one that really matters, is shrink swell clay subsidence. This is the classic English problem. Heavy clay soils that expand when they're wet and shrink when they're dry, and that movement causes foundations to shift. You add a thirsty tree nearby, maybe a leaking drain, a hot summer, and you've got yourself cracked walls and an insurance claim.
And how do the ratings work?
So it runs from A, which is very low, up to E, very high. And large parts of London, the Southeast, Essex, the Midlands, they sit in band C to E. But here's the thing that trips people up. That doesn't automatically mean a house is subsiding. It means the geology around it is capable of driving subsidence if other conditions line up.
Oh, Oh, so high risk doesn't mean guaranteed problem?
No, not at all. Most homes in high-risk zones never actually subside because they were built with adequate foundations or there aren't mature trees triggering movement. But, and I want to be clear about this, a high rating should absolutely change how you approach the purchase.
Go on.
You should ask more questions of the vendor. You should insist on a Level 3 building survey, not just a basic home buyer report. And you need to check the insurance implications before you exchange. If you skip all that, you might only discover the problem when a summer drought opens up hairline cracks a year after you've moved in, which is just
A nightmare, yeah.
total nightmare.
So, when you're actually there at a viewing, what should you be looking for, like physical signs?
Okay, so diagonal cracks wider than 3 millimeters, especially around windows and door frames. If the cracks are wider at the top than the bottom, that's a big red flag. Sticking doors and windows that used to be fine, rippled wallpaper following a diagonal pattern, extensions or bay windows pulling away from the main structure, and then, this is a big one, large trees, oak, willow, poplar within 10 to 15 meters of the building.
Right.
And then there's the cosmetic stuff. Evidence of recent repairs, filler, fresh paint, concentrated in one specific area. That's one of the oldest tricks in the book, Angela. If one room's been freshly painted and every other room hasn't, ask why. Look behind furniture, up in the corners of ceilings where filler tends to crack first.
Sneaky. Okay, so I know you've got a story about this. Sarah, right? The first-time buyer?
Yeah, so Sarah was buying in Chelmsford. She viewed this lovely 1930 semi, and it was in a Geoshore Band D area. Living room had been freshly painted, but the rest of the house hadn't. She noticed, she asked for a Level 3 survey, and it revealed old, previously repaired subsidence cracks hidden under the new paint.
Oh, God. So she pulled out?
No, that's the best part. She didn't walk away. She used the survey findings to negotiate £18,000 off the asking price, got specialist insurance at about $340 above standard, completed the purchase with her eyes wide open. 2 years later, no movement has recurred.
So she's basically 18 grand better off than someone who would have just accepted the asking price.
Exactly. And that's the mindset shift I want people to have. It's not always a deal breaker. It's a negotiation tool.
That's actually really empowering. I love that example. Okay, let's pivot to radon because you mentioned it's the second leading cause of lung cancer, and I'm still sort of sitting with that. What actually is it?
So radon is a naturally occurring radioactive gas. It seeps up from certain rock types, granite, some limestones, shales, and it just kind of accumulates inside buildings if there's no ventilation path. And yeah, second leading cause of lung cancer after smoking. Yet, almost no residential purchase includes a radon test as standard, which is honestly kind of wild.
That is wild. Where are the high-risk areas?
The UKHSA map shows the estimated percentage of homes in each 1 kilometer square that exceed the action level, which is 200 becquerels per cubic meter. The hot spots are Cornwall, Devon, parts of Somerset, Derbyshire, Northamptonshire, and then pockets of Wales, Scotland, and Northern Ireland. If your target area shows more than 3% of homes affected, it's classed as a radon-affected area, and a test is strongly recommended.
And I'm guessing, like with subsidence, the map isn't the final word.
Right, same principle. Radon levels can vary enormously between two houses on the same street. One might have a solid concrete slab and decent underfloor ventilation, while next door has suspended timber floors with cracked air bricks. The map can't tell you which is which. The only reliable answer is a 3-month radon test. 2 small detectors, one in the living room, one in the main bedroom. UKHSA-approved kits cost about 50 to 60 pounds.
50 quid for something that could literally save your life.
Yeah, less than a takeaway a week over 3 months. It's a no-brainer, honestly.
Okay, so let's talk about where people go wrong. What are the classic mistakes you see?
Oh, there's a handful that come up again and again. Number 1, treating a screening map as a survey. We've covered that. Number 2, pulling out of a purchase over a high rating alone. You lose your solicitor and survey fees, typically £1,200 to £2,000, for no good reason. Number 3, and this one's sneaky, ignoring a moderate rating. Moderate is not safe.
it's worth a closer look.
Fair enough. What else?
Assuming the vendor's insurance will just transfer smoothly. It rarely does if there's ever been a subsidence claim. Skipping the radon test in an affected area. And then, this is a good one, confusing settlement with subsidence. New builds settle, old houses subside. They look similar, but the causes and the remedies are completely different. Oh, and trusting only the mortgage valuation. That's for the lender, not for you. It is not a survey.
I think a lot of people don't realize that actually, about the mortgage valuation.
No, they really don't. And I should mention, if a property has any history of subsidence, that follows it for life. You have to disclose it on every future insurance policy. You might only be able to insure with the original insurer or a specialist, and premiums can be double or triple the standard rate.
Wow, okay. So let's get into the actual costs because I think people need to hear the numbers. What are we looking at for subsidence?
All right, so a specialist level 3 building survey is 800 to 1,500 pounds, depending on property size. A ground investigation report, if the surveyor recommends it, trial pits, soil analysis, that's 1,500 to 3,000. Higher buildings insurance in high-risk postcodes, typically 15 to 40% above the national average. Underpinning, if it's ever needed, 15 to 50,000 for a typical semi. And then the resale hit. Properties with a history of movement typically sell for 10 to 20% less than comparable stable homes.
That 10 to 20% loss, that's the one that would really sting.
It really does. It's the gift that keeps on taking, you know?
Grim. And radon costs?
Radon's more manageable, thankfully. Test kit, 50 to 60 pounds. Basic remediation, improving ventilation, sealing gaps, 500 to 1,000. A radon sump for higher levels, 1,500 to 3,000. And then the ongoing electricity for a sump fan is roughly 30 to 60 pounds a year. So still real money, but not in the same league as subsidence.
Right. Okay. So, Assad, for someone listening to this thinking, all right, I'm convinced, what do I actually do? Walk us through it.
Sure. So step 1, screen the postcode early. Before you even book a second viewing, run the address through a tool like the Subsidence and Radon Home Risk Engine to see the combined BGS and UKHSA picture. The whole screening process takes about 15 to 20 minutes per property. Step 2, match the data to what you actually see on the ground. If the map says high shrink swell and you spot large trees near the house, that's a real signal. If the map says low and you see cracks, that's also a signal, just a different one.
Okay. And then you start asking questions?
Step 3, yeah, targeted questions. Has the property ever been underpinned? Have you had a radon test? Any subsidence-related claims on the building's insurance in the last 20 years? And I know some people worry about this. Asking these questions does not spook a serious seller. A vendor who takes offense at that is telling you something useful about how the sale's going to go.
That's a good point.
Step 4, commission the right survey. High-risk area? Get a Level 3 risk building survey. Tell the surveyor specifically what your concerns are. Step 5, get insurance quotes before you exchange, not after. With the survey in hand, run at least 3 quotes. A 5-minute call can save you thousands over the years you own the home. And step 6, and this is the important one, negotiate. Don't just walk away. Use the risk data to negotiate the price down.
So when should you actually walk away? Because there must be a line somewhere.
There is. If the property has a documented history of active subsidence with no completed remediation, walk. If the vendor flat out refuses to share previous survey reports, walk. Or if radon levels come back above 400 becquerels per cubic meter and there's no obvious remediation path within your budget, walk. But everything short of those extremes, that's a negotiation, not a deal breaker.
That's a really clear framework. I like that. And I suppose this all sits alongside other stuff you should be checking, flood risk, planning applications, that sort of thing.
Exactly. Subsidence and radon are part of a bigger picture. Flood zones, crime stats, planning applications on neighboring plots, school catchments, commute costs, it all matters. The buyers who end up happiest tend to be the ones who front-load this research. Spend a weekend on the desk work rather than a decade regretting a rushed decision. It's unglamorous, but it works.
Unglamorous, but it works. That should be the tagline of this podcast.
I'll take it.
Okay, Assad, let's wrap up with a quick recap for everyone. What are the key takeaways?
All right, so subsidence and radon are not reasons to fear buying a UK home. They're reasons to buy one carefully. Screen every postcode early using the free BGS and UKHSA data. Don't treat a map result as a diagnosis. It's a screening tool. In high-risk areas, get a Level 3 survey, not a basic homebuyer report. Get an insurance quote before you exchange, not after. If you're in a radon-affected area, spend the 50 to 60 quid on a 3-month test and use all of this data to negotiate, not to run away.
And that quick pre-offer checklist? GeoSure rating, radon probability, flood map, insurance quote, level 3 survey if needed, vendor questions asked, local planning portal checked. Sound about right?
That's the list. 15 to 20 minutes per property, and you'll be ahead of 90% of other buyers. It's not paranoia, it's just being the kind of buyer who doesn't get caught out.
Brilliant. Assad, thank you. This has been genuinely really useful. And to everyone listening, go check those maps before your next viewing. You'll thank yourself later. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, Angela. See you next time.
Quick side note, this guide connects with other cost-saver blogs, especially Hidden Costs of Commuting Guide, UK Cost of Living Scorecard, and Rental Crime Data to find affordable and safe neighborhoods.
Exactly. And reading those together helps you connect the dots across your household budget, not just this one topic in isolation.
And if you want to apply this immediately, jump into tools like Subsidence and Radon Home Risk Engine, BGS plus UKSA right after this episode.
Primary sources used here include British Geological Survey and UK Health Security Agency, so you can verify the data yourself and stay evidence-led.
That wraps this cost-saver conversation with Angela and Assad. If this helped, share it with someone who could put these ideas to work this week.
Your next step is simple. Try Subsidence and Radon Home Risk Engine, BGS plus UKHSA, then read Hidden Costs of Commuting Guide and use them together to take action today.